said, I don't have any viewers at the moment anyway.
So we think it doesn't sound here?
What was that?
Another bird just walked away.
Well, right now it's picking up some air conditioning.
Starts walking.
Hey, Andy, can we turn off the air, you think?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's picking up,
Yeah, that's fine.
I said, you know when you turn your back and birds come out into the road? No, he didn't. I said, you know what he did? He lifted up his little foot, he was just like that.
That's really loud, Andy.
no, it's a,
So then he went up on 12,600, he says, I ain't messing with no more. Oh, we had that thing about 25 feet on a round there, 3 pellets in the garden. That's how big that thing
It's
is.
6:30.
Let me turn my,
6:31.
Yeah, that's about it, that's why they call
Turn my
it
phone
phone
off.
you know?
All right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
I'll
curious
say
if I
it's
muted
dry.
myself, why that was still coming over the speakers.
let's see.
The what?
It must have been the devices,
Oh, yeah.
even though it was
Oh,
picking
you
up
did?
everybody,
Yeah,
even though I
yeah.
muted myself.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think I-
Okay, so we have a form.
Never able to finish it. I probably
I
should
know
someday.
that is either.
It's 6:30 has come,
Oh.
by a second, so I'm gonna call this meeting to order. If you please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
Okay.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
The United States of America.
one nation,
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, and justice for all. Hey, we got that right, Jen.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Can you
All
turn
right.
this back on?
I couldn't hear anyone else.
It's supposed to be that way when you're talking, your
I
mic,
think
your
it's good.
speakers cut out when your mic goes in.
Oh,
Okay, we have any agenda adjustments?
I have none.
Okay, then we'll move to 2.1, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 12, 2020 Board of Directors, Board of Directors work meeting.
So moved. Second.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, that wasn't our organizational meeting, right?
No.
Right, so it's just the Board of Directors meeting.
Right.
It would have been, but because we've been meeting throughout the summer, we had the organizational meeting, so we'll strike the word organization, which I think I left out when I read it. Okay? Any comments,
Okay.
corrections, modifications?
We can barely hear you.
You can, I'll see if I move closer, can you hear me now?
Is that better, Dory?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so any corrections or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, then we'll take a vote.
All right, it has to be a roll call vote. Bob?
Yes?
Robbie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
Vicky's not here. Joan?
Yes.
Dory?
Yes.
Andrea's, is Andrea here? I don't believe so. Okay, motion carries.
Okay. Thank you. Petitions and communications.
I have none this evening.
We'll move on to 4.1, the superintendent's report.
All right, so most of what I'm gonna report is gonna come under old business, but I will let you all know that our cohort lists went out, and so those went out today. I know there are gonna be a few issues with those, just, siblings with different last names and things like that, transportation, things along those lines, so, and I also know that some parents were having a hard time getting into Infinite Campus, so we're gonna be here tomorrow. If there were some issues or we made a mistake, we didn't catch siblings, then certainly just call us and we'll make those changes. Also, Tech will be on site, be around to help families with Infinite Campus.
Okay. We have no other reports. One retirement.
Yes, one retirement.
Okay. Flip the page. So comments from the floor?
We do have financial.
Oh, we have a financial
We have
report?
Financial report, yes.
Okay, financial report.
It's in the packet.
Yeah. I'll be making a report underneath the committee.
Okay, so, yeah, maybe we'll work in the future about combining that all in one.
Yeah.
Probably a good idea.
You know, instead of reporting and have the committee report, just, we'll figure out how we can get it, maybe under committee reports.
Yep. I just make sure now it's in the packet, that was what was asked, that's all.
Okay,
I'll do whatever.
alright, so we'll get a report later on under committee reports for the finance committee.
Am I looking at the wrong agenda? Cause I don't see it on the agenda.
Financial report is
Yeah.
under other reports after.
Oh, I see it now, thank you.
Yep, 4.3.
Okay, so we're gonna move to comments from the floor, again, because, it appears we have a number of people joining us, which I'm glad to see, joining us on Zoom, and maybe some are on phones. Comments from the floor is an opportunity for anybody, to make comments, regarding items that have to do with the school. It is not a time to attack any particular individual, or necessarily, you can certainly discuss policies and procedures and things like that, and what you think of them. If there's an item later on the agenda that you wanna talk about, it has been this board's, history to, after the board has finished this discussion, or preliminarily finished this discussion, to allow community members to go and speak on the item, and then the board may discuss a little bit further before it takes a vote if it's an action item that night. So, with that being said, those that are on the Zoom can raise your hand,
Or type it in the chat box.
or type it in the chat box. We can see the question, we can respond to it, or call on you to speak. So, are there comments from the floor?
I'm just here to discuss a drama club at the high school, if there is an opportunity to do that.
Discuss it in what respect? Are we gonna have one, or what?
I submitted a proposal to Mr. Alberti and I believe to Mr. Carlton, and I was encouraged by a school board member to attend tonight to share how I might do drama club with the school system, the way it's gonna be operating.
Okay, so I would, that would come under the normal administrative procedures of the school administration. So you've addressed it to the right people that can go and consider it as they make their determinations on what activities we may or may not be able to engage in this fall.
Mhm.
And, once a determination is made there, if you feel that it's not the right, you can come ask to have the item put on the agenda for a future board meeting to discuss it. But since you have submitted something, then we really need to let it go through that chain, to get a determination made by the administration.
Lucy, it's interesting that you bring this up, because I actually pulled that back up this afternoon. It hasn't been high on the priority list right this moment. So I think what we need to do is you and I and Marco need to schedule some time to go through that and talk about it.
That's fine.
Okay, any other comments?
And nothing in the chat box.
Nothing in the chat box? No hands raised?
Nope.
Okay. If there's no other comments from the floor, then we'll move on to old business. 5.1, an update on school opening.
All right, so, as we know, last meeting, we approved the hybrid plan. A lot has gone on since then, so I just kind of want to share with you where we're at. So the first thing I want to talk about is busing. So, the guidance from the DOE was that there is no single recommendation on buses. We have worked, I have to thank Glenn, Larry, our secretarial staff, our administrators, and Norma Jean, they have worked countless hours to put cohort lists together, put bus numbers together. As of now, almost all of our buses, save a couple of spots, are no more than one per seat. And there are a couple of spots where it's more than that. And so we're gonna look at, I know Glenn is having a transportation meeting tomorrow. One of the things we're gonna do is start running those runs dry to figure out if maybe we can't, those couple of places where there's more and less it's siblings, we can level those out. So I'll have a clearer picture of exact numbers in another week and a half or so. But right now, the numbers on the buses look fantastic. They just do. And I was really encouraged. Like I said, a ton of hours went into this. They did fabulous work. So beyond that, I'm gonna share with all of you that are here, and I'll talk about it in a minute, an update on where we are with safety items. Stephanie, I'll come over to you. So, this has really fallen on Glenn and Scott to work through some of this. So, first of all, PPE, we have a significant amount of PPE in the district. I don't know if you can see behind Joe over here, or behind Robbie, we've got a ton of it here. This is all hand sanitizer, that's gonna be spread out through the district. We've got masks, Glenn has been delivering it everywhere. Currently, we have over 10,000 pieces of PPE. We're waiting on gowns right now. Glenn and Scott are working on how we can expedite that the quickest. But other than that, we are in really good shape as far as PPE is concerned. Signage in our buildings, for inside and out, is such as the arrows, the dots of where people can sit. That was all scheduled to arrive yesterday. It did arrive. That will start going up in our buildings next week. Barriers for the offices, so, for our secretarial staff, those people that interact, we actually hired Quality Glass to come in. They've done all the measuring. The materials for this were scheduled to arrive today, and I believe they did, right, Scott?
As far as I know, yes.
Yep, it all arrived today. We're working with Quality Glass to come in and install all that. They did all the measurements, but it doesn't look like that's gonna be real soon. I mean, it looks like it's gonna be real soon. We're hopeful next week. Fans, we actually have ordered 300 air purifying ventilator fans for throughout the district. The first 150 will be in Wednesday, and the second set will arrive Friday of next week. So, those, and I will say this now, thank goodness for the COVID relief funds. I'll just give you a dollar figure. The air purifiers that we ordered, $86,000. So we've gotta have these things. So one of the things that we've done is done some extensive research and read some bulletins that were put out by the National Transportation and Highway Safety Association. And we've made the decision to order flexible barriers for our bus drivers. So they're actual sheets that will go behind the bus driver and on the side. We ordered those today for all 16 of our buses. The state police have come out and said that we can do that as long as they're installed by a certified mechanic. They'll have to come out and take a look at them. But we've ordered all of those. They're gonna be in soon, correct, Scott?
Yes.
Like next week. And so we'll start working on getting those installed. We do have some plastic barriers for classrooms that have tables. Those were delivered yesterday and they started being set up today. And then as far as our classrooms are concerned, custodial staff has already started setting up classrooms for social distancing. All of the classrooms in the district will be set up by the end of next week. So, the reality is we're in good shape as far as these things are concerned. The one thing that we currently don't have in is the barriers for the bus drivers, but as soon as we get them in, we'll get them in just as quick as possible. So all in all, as far as safety items are concerned, we're in good shape. Other than that, the cohort letters went out today, so I'm gonna share just kind of a dry copy of those with all of you. There's a lot of information in these things, but they went out today by Infinite Campus and the mail, so families will start receiving those. Basically talks about all the things that are going on in our buildings. I know that we started working on virtual open house videos and all those things, so all in all, there's a lot of moving parts here, but I have to give a lot of credit to our administrators, secretaries, custodians, all the people that have really dug in. Kathy, they've put in hundreds of hours of work, Glenn, Scott, to get this done. It's been an undertaking. I know Norma Jean spent the last 3 days dealing with Infinite Campus to be able to create these logs. I mean, it's just been a ton of work. But, you know, one of the things that I appreciate about the staff that we have here in RSU4 is everybody's willing to roll up their sleeves, dig in, and get this work done. So all in all, you know, I think we're in good shape. I will be candid, I am really glad that we made the decision to push the start date out until the 14th. That made good, you know, given all that we have to do, we will, that'll give us an extra amount of time. So, one of the things that I'll be sending out when staff have to report and things like that after we approve the calendar tonight. We made a change to the student start date, but we just have to formally approve a calendar. I also had to make a couple changes to workshop days. But other than that, we're in pretty good shape at this point. You know, we had talked last time about staff. Scott and I have processed
14, 15.
15 requests under Family First Coronavirus Act or FEMLA, and we've been able to accommodate most of those to keep people doing things and still work on that. So all in all, we look pretty good. We still need to hire some positions, but we've put together some contingency plans in case we don't right off the bat. So right now, you know, I hate to say it, hope is not a strategy, but I feel so much better than I did a week ago. Things are in pretty good shape. So, any questions?
Andy?
Yeah.
Is it possible to email out the letter that
Yep.
you sent to all of the families?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you guys when we're done.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions? Seeing none, then we'll move on to new business. So we'll take up the policies that we had to pass over because of time, last meeting. So entertain a motion to approve the first reading of the following policy, AC, non-discrimination, equal opportunity, and affirmative action.
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Robbie, seconded by Joan. Any
about,
discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor, we'll have to do this roll call again, because we're not all here.
Bob?
Yes?
Robbie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
Jen?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
He's absent. Joan?
Yes.
Dory?
Dory, you there?
Dory, are you there?
She's on the screen.
Yeah.
What is,
And Andrea's not here.
right.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, 6.2, to approve the first reading of the following policy, ACAA, harassment and sexual harassment of students.
So moved.
So moved.
Been moved,
Second.
moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll do the vote.
Bob?
Yes?
Robbie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Absent. Joan?
Yes.
Dory?
And we're not hearing you, Dory, if you're out there.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, that motion carries. 6.3, to approve first reading of the following policy, ACAAR, student discrimination, harassment, and Title IX sexual harassment complaint procedures. Motion.
So moved.
Moved,
Second.
moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the vote.
Bob?
Yes?
Robbie?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Joan?
Yes.
Dory? Okay. All right, motion
And
carries.
motion passes. 6.4, to approve the first reading of the following policy, ACAB, harassment and sexual harassment of school employees.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote.
Bob,
Yes?
Robbie,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Dory.
Motion passes. 6.5, to approve the first reading of the following policy, ACABR, Employee Discrimination, Harassment, and Title IX Sexual Harassment Complaint Procedures.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote.
Bob,
Yes?
Robbie,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
and Dory.
Yes.
6.6, entertain a motion to approve the first reading of the following policy, DJR, Federal Procurement Manual.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote.
Bob,
Yes?
Robbie,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
and Dory.
Yes.
All right, 6.7, entertain a motion to approve changes to 2020-2021 school calendar. We have a motion,
So
please.
moved.
Been moved?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, and now get presented for discussion.
All right. So there's not much here other than just moving around some workshop days, and adding the student start date. I met with the association, had a meet and consult, we went through it, made a couple of just changes based on logistics, based upon, the Lewiston schedule, things like that, but all in all, not much has changed here, just where workshop days fall. That's all. And we never had a formal vote on approving a new calendar,
Just the start date.
just the start date.
But not a calendar.
Not a calendar, yeah.
This is probably not visible by our members on the board that are not here.
No, it's not. I can email it out quickly here.
Or can you share the screen?
Oh, I can share the screen, that
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah, because that would be, there's 4 of us here.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if those are gonna vote. We have a chance to at least see it.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen.
Andy?
Yep.
And I've been asked this a few times, vacation days is still in there, right?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
So yeah, vacation days are still in there. It looks as though I had some communication with the commissioner about student days. It looks like there's potential for the governor to issue an executive order. If she doesn't, the commissioner can use the process and will grant a waiver. So
Right.
I'll apply for a waiver for the days. And she's going to be incredibly liberal with that process.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I think we're in good shape.
Do the, like, Monday holidays outweigh the, like, Thursday, Friday cohort kids?
No, I think everything was pretty good. There's a couple of times where it's a little off and we'll make some adjustments when that happens, but for the most part,
Okay.
I think we're in good shape. The Monday holidays are actually less this year because Veterans Day is falling in the middle of the week.
Wednesday.
So it's actually falling on a Wednesday, which is helpful, so,
Well, then you have that Thanksgiving break, that's 2 days,
right.
or the
Yeah,
Thursday, Friday.
we're gonna send out schedules by the month,
Okay.
post schedules by the month, depending on where we're at. I mean, there's a good part of me that hopes that maybe in a month we'll be in a different position than we are. So, but I don't know what that's gonna look like.
Any other discussion on the calendar? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote.
All right, Bob,
Yes?
Robbie,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes,
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Dory? Dory, you there? Okay, all right, motion carries.
Motion carries. 6.8 is a discussion and possible action regarding the fall coaching stipends.
Yeah, and this is high school coaching stipends at this point. So, as you know, we still do not have a, recommendation from, or a decision from the Maine Principals Association. They were supposed to make
Yes.
yesterday. They did not. At the end of last week, they pushed it out to, tomorrow. So we'll know that. What that's gonna look like, I don't know. I will tell you, the biggest committee that's had a part of this today, which was the Health and Safety Committee, came out and made the recommendation to the executive board that all fall sports play. And so, they carry a lot of weight. I don't know what the final decision will look like. All of the sports other than I think volleyball and football maybe, and we don't have volleyball, were recommended, they were moderate to low risk. Volleyball and football were high risk, but the medical committee has looked at all the data and said, I made the recommendation to the executive board that they play. So I hazard to guess that will be the decision tomorrow, but I don't know that for sure. My thing was, looking at, I know we did not cut coaching stipends in the spring. I made that decision. We didn't play, we had no preseason for spring sports. However, our coaches this fall have done a ton of work already. And so my recommendation would be, and Jim and I have talked at length, even if sports don't go, we will still continue with, I think we're in phase 4 right now, allowing individual workouts, things like that. I bring this to you as a discussion item, you can put it back to me, but my recommendation would be, regardless of what the NPA decision is, that we pay our fall high school coaches. They have put in countless hours at this point, already, just to do through phase 2, 3, and 4. So, that's where I land. I hazard to guess they're gonna go, sports are gonna go anyway, given what came out today, but I don't know that for sure.
So this would be,
I would agree with that.
okay, so this would be for board members' discussion, and then we can open it up for public after that. So, if board members have any comments they would like to make about,
I mean, if they're putting in the work, they should be compensated for it. If they were waiting on a decision and haven't done anything yet, my decision might have been the other way, but if they've been preparing for it and, putting in the hours, I say we do.
Having coached one of the summer teams for high school 4 or 5 years ago, I know how much work and how much preparation they put in prior to, and I think it would be completely appropriate to pay them for fall sports.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, I agree. If you, paid them by the hour, you wouldn't wanna even see the amount of money that they actually get, so I would be in
Yeah.
favor of paying it.
other comments? Okay, so because I usually try and kind of wait as the chair, but, so what other stipend positions in the school, in the high school, do you plan to not pay because we can't have the after-school activities that we have stipends for?
So Marco and I haven't had a conversation yet about co-curricular. This is just fall sports.
Yeah, and that's my concern, is that if we're not going to, and I guess it's the overall picture, whether we let athletics go, we let no co-curricular activities go because we got kids in cohorts, they're not gonna be in school together, you can't have them after school and all that stuff, but yet we're going to, one, allow athletics, and two, pay the athletic stipends, which are amongst the highest, and that's because maybe there's more work in that than coaching a debate club or something, but I get a little concerned that we're offering programs for a segment of the school population and not allowing the other segment of the school population to participate in those activities that they're interested in because of the restrictions placed on us by the COVID-19.
So I looked down the stipend list today in our extracurricular, and this is, you know, me speaking. I looked down this, and I think there's a way for most of those to go. I really do. You know, thinking about, you know, we don't have a ton of extracurricular. You know, even at the high school, we don't have a ton. And I think there's gonna be a way to make those happen, even with kids in cohorts. And so.
And remote learning?
And remote learning, yep, kids can access if they want to. I think there's a way to do that. You know, I was looking at things like academic decathlon, and they escape me now. I think those are things that can go because we'll have a way to do them. You know, if sports go, I wanna find a way to make sure everything possible goes. And I think there's a way to do that.
Okay, so that's my, you know, I wanna make sure that we're not favoring a particular segment of the school population over the others, because, I mean, some of these activities require close-knit help, so like the robotics. You know, that's students working together, close contact, building the robots and programming and that stuff. Probably not staying 3 feet apart.
Well, I think there are, like robotics, I actually think there is a way to do that, with the amount of technology that we have. And I will say this, I think you all know this about me, so I love sports, right? I always have. However, I also love other things. You know, I was a musician, I was in drama, you know, all those things. I will tell you that I have a child at home. I've had a hard time, and I will say this publicly, with this whole let them play movement. I understand it. But for instance, my daughter is a 14-year-old whose number one love is theater and marching band. You know, and we don't have marching band, but the main Band Directors Association canceled the marching band season. Nobody batted an eyelash. It didn't make the paper, there wasn't a big petition campaign. You know, I am super concerned about our kids who don't do sports and do those other things. I wanna make sure those things happen if at all possible, because they're important for those kids too.
Right, and that's my concern, we always hear about athletics. There are a lot of students involved, the football team's got a lot of people, soccer's got a number of people, you know, field hockey, all the sports have larger teams than most of the other activities, but they're no more important to the development of our youth, just because they're athletic in nature. Probably, well, I don't know, probably I shouldn't even, I don't have the information, so I won't say it, but, yeah, I'm,
Given, I know that Jim Palmer has consistently said in past years that at least a third of the student population at the high school is involved in fall activities. And it's the largest season that the school has because it has the most offerings. But I hear what you're saying, Bob, and I completely agree. I don't think we want to put one over the other, and a lot of the students are actually involved in more than one activity as well. I think you'll see a lot of kids who are involved in FBLA or drama or band or anything of that nature, and also involved in athletics. So I think it's really important for just the entire student body to make sure that this happens for them.
yeah, as you mentioned, the other 66%, we have to make sure that are taken care of, as well as the third that's involved in our athletics program. So, I guess, you know, my real concern is we approve stipends and tonight, and tomorrow, they don't allow certain athletic programs. Football being the biggest, and that's the one that costs us the most in stipends, but we have a number of coaches. And, I just, you know, I know that the coaches get involved and help the youth, and that's very important. We want them to stay involved. So you know, those are my concerns, is that we're not singling out a certain segment and giving those coaches, those people involved, their stipends, but we'll not be doing that for the others. Or we just give them to everybody, whether they have a program or not, which I don't think is exercising our fiduciary responsibility over the funds that we're entrusted to take care of.
Right.
You know, I mean, we just can't, gonna talk about drama, but if we couldn't do drama, why would we pay the drama coach, right? So it's that type of thing. So those are my concerns. So do we does the board really need to take any action because this is something that comes under your purview normally
You don't
anyway?
need to. I just wanted to bring it here for discussion, and if nothing else, just a little direction, and I'm good with that. But it does fall under my purview, but I always think it's good to have a public discussion when it comes to these kind of things.
Okay. So speaking of a public discussion, is there any non-board members out there who would like to speak on this item?
I have no hands
So,
raised.
no hands raised,
Nothing in the chat.
no chat?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Whoops, somebody talking?
Go ahead, Dory.
Yeah, I'm a board member, and I can tell you that I was not coordinated, could hardly walk in high school. But I was very involved in the arts, drama, band, and still have friends that I had in that. So I want to make sure that that group is not left out. Very important. Football, yeah, but let me tell you, sitting in the stands, freezing to death with a instrument in your lap, yeah, you can bond them too.
All right, thank you. All right, so you have the discussion you needed?
Yep. Definitely. Thank you all, I appreciate that.
So if there's no other comments, then we'll move on, since that was a discussion item. So we move to committee reports, Finance and Facilities Committee.
Yeah, the Finance and Facilities Committee, met this evening before the, school board meeting, and the financial report year-to-date on revenue. We have received $1,570,962.42, which is 8.03% of anticipated revenues. And we've expended $1,876,379, which is 9.57% of our budget. And the audit was finished, right, Scott?
Yes, it is finished as effective on last Friday.
Yep. And some of the stuff that the auditors have highlighted is stuff that we've seen before about having self-checking as far as different accounts, because we're a small district, we don't have that double check, but they bring that up every year for us. And the audit is really great. So is Hank coming?
We will, once we get the
Right.
final product.
Yeah, the final
we will set
thing.
up. One thing that I failed to mention, is that we will be,
I
our
don't know if people
first,
can hear you without speaking into a mic.
oh, sorry.
Might need to turn that one on if it's not on.
It's on.
One of the things I failed to mention was that we will be receiving our first bus at the end of next
Oh,
week.
yeah.
We'll be paying for it through Warm Savings. So, and the other one will be hopefully in by September 15th.
Oh, great. So on the facility side, the water project is all in the ground and in the school, and we're still in the process of flushing. So that'll be ready to go for the start of school. At the middle school, the windows are done, all installed. Andy talked about the air handlers, hand sanitizer, face mask. And then on the performance contract, we've expended 1/3 of the money that we have available, and we'll still be in that phase during the whole year, I assume, Scott?
Say that again?
As far as the performance contract, we'll be phasing through that the whole year.
That's correct. And
Yeah.
we've spent
1/3.
about 1/3, yes.
Yeah, about 1/3. And that's about it.
So if you get a chance, I would say, go up to the high school, take a look at the new.
Oh, the new wall.
The new wall,
Yeah.
the cafeteria, and go take a look at the new windows at the middle school. They're fabulous. They really are. It really is made a big difference.
All right, any questions? Seeing none, move on, Personnel Policy Committee.
Okay, we haven't not had any personnel, issues, and the policy committee had approved, for the first reading, tonight's, policies that you've, approved.
And I will tell the Personnel and Policy Committee, I dusted out I got out the policy book and started working on new ones for you today, so those will be coming.
Oh, that's very exciting, I can hardly wait. Thank you.
All right. Any questions on the Personnel and Policy Committee? Seeing none, then the CAI Technology Committee,
Did not meet.
Didn't meet.
they didn't meet?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. So we'll move on to board members' comments. Any board
I
members?
just want to say quickly that, between, the last meeting and this, I had 3 or 4 people tell me how happy they were to be able to go on Zoom and listen to the school board. So this has been, a very good thing in the sense that the community gets involved. Even if they don't always ask questions, they are listening.
Thank you, that's good information. I think, I'd like to make sure that we continue this, even if everything goes on. It's nice to open it up, be a little more transparent for the community. If they're recorded, if they are working or just out having a barbecue, they can listen to it later. And actually hear what we're talking about and not having to listen to, somebody else's interpretation about what we're doing.
When I tell you, we are dual streaming this, so not only are we in Zoom, we're also streaming live on YouTube back there, so there are 2 ways that people can, be involved in our meeting. You know, watch the meeting there, or if they want to comment, they can come here. It's pretty fantastic technology.
Yeah. And as all with technology, occasionally things don't go just 100% right. And I know that the administration was, very sorrowful that they weren't able to actually record and have available the Zoom public meeting from the last Friday, 2 Fridays ago, I guess, when that was, because that was a very informative meeting, but unfortunately the recording didn't keep. So, any other comments?
I would just really like to extend gratitude to everybody and their continued hard work to make the school year happen. It's just been phenomenal, and I know the undertaking that it is, so thank you to everyone.
And I'd just like to say that, for myself, as a member of the board, don't have children in the school system anymore, but my concern is the safety. So we're trying to, and I'm trying to, I guess I'm speaking for myself here, I'm trying to make sure that my decisions are based upon the safety of the total population of the communities. And so while some parents might disagree with some of the policies we have in that we believe are necessary for safety, it's the children, the other students or staff that could be impacted by somebody not wanting to follow the directions that could have a problem. And the last thing I want is some student of ours or a staff member of ours to get seriously ill and, God forbid, die or have serious ongoing consequences from COVID because procedures that we put in place are not being followed. So it's extremely important that the parents out there do the self-checks that are required every day. Don't send their children to school if they're not well. You might think it's just a cold, but it could be something worse until it's known. So please, everybody, exercise caution and respect the others. So I'll respect your desire to not be concerned, but please respect the concern of those who are concerned. And we all work together, we can make this a much better school year and a much safer one for everybody in the community. If there's no other board member comments, then we'll move on to an executive session. Before we make the motion to move in, inform all of those who are listening in that this is restricted just to school board members and the superintendent as their secretary. And this personnel matter, will be dealt with. There is no business planned after the executive session other than to come back into open session and adjourn. If you want to, you can go and hang out in the waiting room. We can let you back in at that time, or you can just sign off knowing that no other business is taken care of, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And at this time, I thank you all for joining us, and hope you all have a safe and enjoyable week, and enjoy the weekend. So at this time, I'll enter a motion to enter into executive session, pursuant to 1 MRSA 405-6A, personnel matter.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? Seeing those, I'll call for the vote.
Bob,
Yes?
Robbie,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yeah.
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
Dory.
Yes.
Here's the here. Motion carries. So we will be in executive session at 7:16.
So in just a minute, we'll start taking people out of the, turn off the live stream.
Yeah, Norm, you shut
Yep,
the
yep.
camera off.
I will turn everything on.